Hi guys, it's Mrs. Everly. For writing today, we're going to be doing session 11. And session 11 is called Bringing Out the Secret Thoughts and the Quirkiness of Your Characters. And pretty much what that is saying is that your characters are going to have thoughts, they're going to have feelings, and we want to make sure that your reader, that the readers of your story know those. So just like if something happens to you, you have thoughts, you have things that your brain thinks inside of your body, and you have feelings, and sometimes we don't want to include those and we don't want to say those things out loud because we know that it could get us into trouble, or we just don't want to show some of our emotions to people. So we want to include those details with our characters, and the reason why we want to do those things is because, one, we want to make the characters realistic. Just like you guys have those, our characters are too. But ultimately, it helps us understand the character and understand how they feel, understand the things that they say, but ultimately how they react to situations or how they solve the problems. So I'm going to share my story with you, and this is my second story in my series about Sarah. So it is called Sarah and the Lunchroom. Bring was a sound that was heard through the school. Finally, I am starving, Sarah exclaimed to her friends. Maggie and Piper, same here. I could eat a horse. I wish lunch was sooner, Maggie added in. All three of the girls walked towards the lunchroom. They were surrounded by all of the other 4th and 5th graders. Some kids were running and others were just chatting with their friends. Sarah headed towards their favorite table and plopped down on the bench. Her brown lunch bag consisted of a ham and cheese sandwich, grapes, and a bottle of water. She had just started to unpack her lunch when Piper and Maggie had sat down across the table from her. What are you having for lunch today, Sarah? Maggie asked. Just my normal. You know how much my mom loves to cook, Sarah laughingly said. Just as Sarah was about to ask Piper what she was having for lunch, she noticed out of the corner of her eye a girl named Lisa sitting down at the end of the table. A few minutes later, a heavy-set and tall boy named Tom appeared out of nowhere at their table. Everyone knew that Tom was a mean and terrible person. He went out of his way to torment others. Sarah took a deep breath and started praying that Tom wasn't picking her to be his victim today. And again, writers, I'm not done with my story. I finished my story map, so I really have a clear beginning, I have a clear middle, and I have a clear ending. And I know where I want my story to go. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to stop and I wanted to make sure that I'm making my characters as realistic as I can. And as you guys notice, I've included some thoughts in there. So just as Sarah was about to ask what Piper was having for lunch, she noticed out of the corner of her eye a girl named Lisa sitting down at the end of her table. Again, she's not saying anything, she's not doing anything, but this is like things that she's thinking in her head, things that she's noticing. Sarah took a deep breath and started praying that Tom wasn't picking her to be his victim today. Again, that's not something that she's saying out loud, but it's a thought. She's hoping that she's not going to be the victim, the person that's being bullied. And she knows that when she takes a deep breath, that kind of shows you guys her feelings, but again, she doesn't have to say those feelings out loud. So, writers, today I challenge you to look at your guys' story, the one that you guys have written on Google Docs, and I want you guys to look and include what are some internal thoughts. How could you include more details about how your characters are feeling, or what they might be thinking based on the problem that's occurring in your story. Until next time.